All right, the Eagles just slid into the NFC Championship game thanks to the best player in the NFL and a ferocious defense. But it sure as heck wasn't without a little anxiety, as the Birds survived one of the most frantic comeback attempts in recent memory. However, no matter how many times they let a naysayer know, this criticism keeps coming back. Although why is there a double standard there, and what's the reality when you compare it to the three other teams in the playoffs? Plus the latest on Jalen Hurts and Quinyon Mitchell injuries, what to make of A.J. Brown's performance, and everything else you may have missed from the divisional round. So let's talk about it, but first, let's run it. What's up, guys? Well, that was just unreal, and I'm not sure that I'm exactly fully recovered from that ending. But they did it, baby, despite so many missed opportunities. Because just like we've seen all season, this is the character of this team. No matter what it looks like, it's whatever it takes and by any means necessary.
I don't know if it'll snow next week, but rain, sleet, or snow, Eagles train to go. We'll be ready to go.
The team is built just how you want the team to build, man. We pick each other up. You know, we ain't playing as best. Offense playing his best. If the offense not playing his best, the defense is playing his best. Now, if we both playing our best, we just blow folks out. So we just really count up, like, you know, we just work with each other, man. It doesn't matter how it's going. We don't look at the scoreboard until that say 0. And that's what it says. When it says 0, the Eagles win.
There are a lot of people out there that are struggling to come to terms with the fact that the Eagles got this dub. And we'll get into the breakdown in a sec, although when you consider bad penalties in bad times, dropping interceptions, giving up big plays, missing extra points, and receivers dropping passes that hardly ever happen, it's pretty incredible to see that grit and never say die mentality result in the Eagles now hosting the NFC Championship game. And not that we're keeping track, but remember, there were critics last week saying there's no way the Eagles could play like they did against the Packers or certainly play less than ideal and beat the Rams. Except that's exactly what happened, and sorry to all the haters, but that's just what good teams do.
There were some hard moments in that game, but we embraced the adversity and we have found a way. That's all that matters right now. That's all that matters right now. How about that championship defense? Defense. We talked about hitting Stafford. We hit him from the beginning all the way to the end. That was an unbelievable job. All right, it's an unbelievable job. Guys, we were able to run the football in the conditions, and we found a way. Right? All that did for me, besides put this chain on me, thank you, Chauncey, is made me hungry as I'm so fucking hungry, and I know you guys feel the same way. I love you guys. All right, let's go do it. We got business to finish. We got fucking business to finish.
Yeah, we can win in a lot of different ways, and like you said, resiliency is kind of our specialty. Adversity, fighting adversity. Nick talked about adversity this week a lot, and you never know what it's going to be in the game, like before the game, but when it happens, how are you going to respond? And I think we responded pretty well.
By the way, I made a comment on my last video that if the Eagles ended up hosting the NFC Championship game, which obviously, meant that the Washington Commanders beat the Lions, Eagles win on Sunday, didn't necessarily think that it was a huge high probability, but that I would give away tickets to that one. So guess what? Do me a favor, drop a like on this video, and then let me hear your thoughts about anything from the Rams game, where I'll select one lucky commenter via the randomized spinner on an upcoming live stream. Reminder to be on the lookout for scammers, and then I will always message you with the custom emoji so that you know it's me in the chat and official. Also, while you're dropping a like and commenting, there were several people asking who won this Jalen Hurts signed helmet, and it's officially going to Kenny Sachs. But Kenny, I still haven't heard from you, so you have 1 week to email me at thephillyspecialshow@gmail.com so that I can confirm it's you and get it shipped out to you. Otherwise, I'm going to give it to someone else. Anyway, talking about the NFC Championship game and the opportunity to host is flat out insane. Not that I didn't think the Birds could do it. However, the ending of that game was a little too close for comfort, until Jalen Carter decided to go all game wrecker and get the job done.
And I saw it, I was like, he killed. It was only a matter of time before he was going to kill that right guard. No disrespect to the right guard.
3rd and 2. Stafford in trouble. He's sacked.
Oh my gosh, that dude is just a monster. The best in the league, and even when the stat sheet doesn't say, I know he had a great game today, but even when the stat sheet doesn't say, he's making a big impact on the game. And the forced fumble, the TFLs, the sack, he always has a bunch of batted passes. He does it all, and it's fantastic.
Man, he's a beast, man. He's a beast, man. He wreaks havoc. He makes my job really easy, man.
Yeah, that's the games we're going to need from him. Like, we already know the type of player he is. And He got it done. Like I said, it was only a matter of time before somebody came up with that big play, and it was him.
Dude, the Breadman has got to be a top 2 defensive player in the league, if not number 1. I mean, against the Rams, JC played 68 of the 70 snaps while being doubled on over half of the pass rush snaps. But even with all that, was still able to record a 12% pressure rate while making 5 tackles, 3 quarterback hits, 2 sacks, a batted pass, and a crucial forced fumble late in the game. Plus, I think everyone realizes it was a crucial sack in the final drive on Stafford. Yet when you really break it down, Sean McVay was in complete shock that the Rams couldn't get it done. And that is courtesy of the Breadman.
29-28 is all that I saw. There was nothing you could tell me, Dylan, that wasn't going to go down like that. And he did that. And unfortunately, we had a miscommunication on the 3rd and 4 that put us back, where you book a special player when we probably could have converted on that play. It moves you back, and I won't talk about what I thought occurred on the 4th down, but he led us. He put us in a position to be able to win that football game, and that's who he is, and I'm not at all surprised. And we all had the expectation with him leading the way that we were going to win that game, and he did everything, and he did his part to put us in a position to be able to do that.
Look how huge the Jalen Carter sack is. Watch the tight end up top. Out and twirl, slip. That ball is going to go there. Does he score? I don't know. Probably, but maybe it gets down to inside the 2 or 3 yard line. If not for that sack, man, that is a enormous game-saving play. That guy's going to run away. Whew. What a huge play. Huge individual efforts today.
No, I just been read the O-line the whole game, and I thought I had a good rush in mind, and I did that rush and got a sack on it.
What'd you do on that?
I went towards the center and did a little fillet and went back inside. It wasn't really nothing special, but it worked. Did it 2 times in a row, got pressure on the quarterback in 1 sack.
That dude is an unstoppable force, but I'll tell you what's the biggest aspect for me is seeing how far he's come to prove the haters wrong. I mean, consider back at Georgia that the knock on JC was he didn't play many snaps at Georgia and had his fitness levels questioned. Heck, he showed up really out of shape for his pro day and didn't really look good at all. Now, he was solid last season as a rookie, but eventually he hit the rookie wall and wasn't able to make much of an impact. But kudos to Carter, man, because here he is now playing 95% of the snaps practically every game and has enough left in the tank to obliterate his matchup on the final 2 plays of the game. Of course, you know where I'm going next with this one, especially wearing the Nolan Smith jersey during the game stream. But come on, how about those Philly dogs? With Nolan Smith also making a huge impact on a strip sack that Zack Baun recovered. Like, shout out to Anthony DeBona, but through 2 playoff games, Nolan now has 11 total pressures. And for you stat people out there, only Jared Verse has more total pressures than Smith in the playoffs. And only the Texans' Will Anderson has more sacks than Nolan in the playoffs. I mean, what the Birds have gotten from their edge production since Brandon Graham got injured is nothing short of spectacular. Because since week 6, number 3 has 9.5 sacks in 14 games. Heck, only 7 players in the league have more sacks over that span. Yet as special as that is, the best part for me is the brotherhood of the Philly dogs, as Nolan was running out of the tunnel carrying Nakobe Dean's jersey during intros at the link. And let's just say after Howie Roseman rolled the dice in the first round back in 23, there's no doubt JC and 3's special chemistry is paying off.
Man, it's crazy, man. You see, like last week, we ran a little stunt where he got the sack off of it. Now this week, we ran a stunt where I got the sack off of it. We just working off each other, man. We just being the best we could be. You know, keeping the chemistry from all the way back from Georgia to 9, and how long we stay on this team, man. It's just love, and I love that, man. We just go keep balling.
Defensive line stunts are always most effective against the man-to-man side of a pass protection scheme, and that's exactly what the Eagles get here on this first quarter sack from Jalen Carter. It came on a stunt, an ET stunt with Carter and Nolan Smith, and you can see right before the play, Jalen Carter gives Nolan Smith a look, and he pats the back of his head here. I think he's calling for the ET stunt. Jalen Carter got a bead on the protection scheme, knew that they were sliding away towards the Milton Williams side of the formation. So now it's going to be 2v2. Jalen lets Nolan know. And now this is just 2 versus 2, half-court, pick-up basketball in the summer, and they're just going to run a little pick and roll. Nolan Smith's going to slant inside. He's the picker. Here comes the roll. Jalen Carter rolls right off of it. He's the looper. He closes in on Matthew Stafford, and it's a sack for the Eagles on 3rd down.
Not to beat a dead horse, but I called it, and also the channel is insanely close to getting 100,000 subs. Wait, reminder, as soon as it does, I'm going to randomly pick a subscriber to join me on a visit to the NovaCare complex this offseason to hang out with Nolan and the rest of the Philly dogs. Also, another thing that I'm really excited to talk about is the sponsor of today's video, Ridge, because just like my Nolan fandom, it was a no-brainer whenever they reached out with their new carbon fiber wallet. Of course, obviously, my favorite is the Eagles option, but whether your team is competing for the Super Bowl or already working on their draft board, you can proudly rep your squad by clicking the link in the description and using code PhillySpecial. Look, I'm with you. I hate the big bulky fill of wallets, but that's why I love Ridge, because their wallets are compact, able to hold up to 12 cards, and are fully customizable. Plus, when it comes to protecting your personal information, each Ridge wallet features RFID blocking materials to keep your information safe and secure. By the way, they've also got a matching key case for those of you dealing with those noisy, bulky keychains. Granted, having said all that, this might be the best part. Ridge offers free shipping and returns as well as a lifetime warranty and a 99-day risk-free trial where if you don't like it, you can send it back with no questions asked. Although I highly doubt you end up doing that because these things are legit. So come on, add another piece of Eagles fandom to your pocket and use my code PHILLYSPECIAL to get 10% off your order, or just click the link in the description. Alright, y'all also know I've been a big fan of Jalyx Hunt and he was ballin' on Sunday, as the Rook dropped Matthew Stafford for a big sack to force a field goal and help Philly avoid falling to a deficit in the third quarter. Which, funnily enough, with that sack, Big Pimpin' now has the same amount of career playoff sacks as Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, and TJ Watt. And yet he only played 8 pass rush snaps the entire game. The best way to sum it up is that whenever Vic Fangio tells you you're ready, you're ready. And then I guess on the flip side of that coin, though, what does it exactly say about Bryce Huff and the trust or maybe lack of trust with Fangio because he didn't play a single snap on Sunday? Seriously, the Eagles were not supposed to be doing this. I mean, how often can a team recover from practically zero production from your $50 million pass rusher? Oh, while also losing a vital piece in BG earlier in the season. But yet here we are, and they still have one of the highest pressure rates on opposing QBs in the league. However, as I said, that's who this team is, and honestly, it's also why they're a championship caliber squad. Like, even think about a dude like Braden Mann, who if he hadn't been able to save some of those really dangerous snaps on field goals, the Eagles would have been trailing. Of course, you're right. Let's not fall into the hypothetical game the rest of the media is in denial on.
That game yesterday, let's say it was 130 plays. The Rams definitely won the majority of those plays. If it's not for 2 strips by the Eagles defense and basically the 3 long touchdown runs, I would say you take away those 5-6 plays there, the Rams football team won the majority of the plays on the field in the game that day.
I'm not surprised that's coming from Chris Sims, but that's got to be one of the most ridiculous takes I've ever heard. Look, I know it wasn't perfect. Everyone does. Yet you're telling me we can just pick and choose 5 to 6 plays from the Eagles and then grade the game outside of that? Okay, fine. So let's play that game then. What if we took away plays from the Rams? Like, the near interception from Slay, or the one from Zay later in the game, or what about the deep shot to Puka Nacua? Heck, I can do this for every divisional game this weekend. Like, check this out. Take away Lamar Jackson's fumble, take away his interception, and Mark Andrews' fumble plus his drop at the end, and Baltimore would have won that game. Same thing for the Chiefs. Take away a couple explosive plays, and how about that outcome? I mean, even the Commanders, who won in a blowout, would have been looking at a drastically different finish if we don't give them Terry McLaurin's touchdown, or the pick 6 to go up 10. By the way, I'm not saying the Eagles' offense resembled anything of Washington's side or anything like that. But as a team, all it comes down to is they did enough to win, despite playing a less than ideal game based off of their standards. Yet the biggest talking points you'll hear only want to mention Philly and not everyone else.
I mean, this team never throws it past the sticks, right? Again, trying to get to a 4th and 1 so we can push, right? They throw, only Daniel Jones and Gardner Minshew have a lower stick percentage than Jalen Hurts. That's a fact, right? And again, he took the sacks and he has these games. And I agree with you. This was they could win yesterday in the snow. They may be able next week, right? Washington's run defense is not great. Can they hoist a Lombardi doing this? I don't think so.
It's funny because while a lot of other national pundits seem to have similar takes, all the sports books now have the Eagles as the team with the best odds to win the Super Bowl. Still, do they need to clean some things up on offense? Absolutely. But when you consider the fact that every single team to advance in their conference championship game was outgained in yards, that's pretty wild. FYI, the reason for that, though, is because those same 4 teams combined to not turn the ball over once. Also, going back to Alex Smith's comments about not being able to win a Super Bowl with those numbers, even the GOAT himself in Tom Brady had a stat line of 16 for 27 for 145 yards and 1 touchdown in his first Super Bowl win, with the Pats being outgained by nearly 200 yards with an awful 4.6 yards per pass. Now, I know that was only Brady's 2nd year in the league, yet the idea with Philly's #1 defense with Saquon Barkley and the best rushing attack are still being doubted as much as they are seems a little bit unfair. Like, come on, Josh Allen had a worse completion percentage and 1 fewer yard than Jalen did in the game against the Ravens. But it's strange, he's an MVP favorite and hardly getting any flack for that type of performance. And for those what-if type arguments, well, if Jalen Hurts' 3 throws negated by drops and penalties had actually counted, then it would have added another 89 yards and a touchdown to his total. Again, it's a ridiculous argument to make because it's what if, but come on, we gotta have a realistic level playing field and also quit moving the goalposts. I don't know, we can debate this thing in the comments, so y'all let me hear it. The last thing I'll say is that I can appreciate Nick Saban's stance on what perspective to take with Philly's run.
He's doing the things they need to do to win. I mean, they're a running football team. That's what the Philadelphia Eagles are. They got Saquon Barkley. They run it. Jalen can run it, which he had a big play last night as a runner. So you got to make people defend that, and then you got to throw the ball effectively enough in play action game. And I think Jalen is a good enough passer to do all those things. I think the one thing, and this is any athletic quarterback and every one of them, and when Jalen was with us, we would have team and 7-on-7. And I would say, you cannot run. You cannot scramble. You have to throw the ball on time. And because these guys are so athletic, they see the rush coming and they think they can scramble and get out of it. And a couple of those sacks that he took last night, he took them because in normal circumstances, no snow, no bad knee, all that, he probably would have been able to escape and get away and make a play. And he's done that so much in his career, it's hard to tell a guy, hey, don't do that. But I was trying to train him to become a better on-time passer, by not allowing him to do it in practice. And I think he improved in that regard. But he's still a great athlete, and those guys are going to make plays, and you can't take that away from him.
Look, I know I'm biased, but give me this running game with this defense over the rest of the field. And that's kind of what it feels like the coaches are doing. First, with the play calling and also the coaching for Jalen. But regardless of what you want to believe, he's had a bigger impact than what a lot of people want to give him credit for. Like, come on, the dude ripped off a 44-yard run on the opening drive to put the Eagles up 6. Yes, Jake Elliott missed an extra point, and that's a big problem, but I'll cover that in a sec. Now, unfortunately, the Rams answered quickly with their own score due to some missed tackles early, although unlike against Green Bay, the defense got it cleaned up and Vic Fangio made some adjustments, which resulted in LA only coming away with 6 points over the course of their next 9 drives. Where then late in the first quarter, Saquon Barkley made his first house call thanks to Jalen, who checked into the run. Remember, the talk all week was how LA's run defense was much improved and wouldn't have near the trouble stopping the Birds. Yet we knew better, as Saquon became the first player in NFL history to rush for over 100 yards in a rematch against a team where a player rushed for 200 yards earlier in the season. Yeah, and 26 blew that out of the water, running for 205 yards and 2 scores on a 7.9 yards per carry. In fact, the performance was so good that Saquon is now just 148 yards away from breaking the single-season record for rushing yards for a regular season and postseason combined. FYI, that was previously held by Terrell Davis. But, that's just what he does.
Got a smile on my face thinking about it. Like, this is what you dream about. This is why I came to Philly. I wanted to be a part of games like this, and I'm just happy to be able to be a part of it.
How can you not be happy for Saquon and also, sending another the weekly thank you to the Giants? Of course, that game was an emotional roller coaster, with it looking like Isaiah Rodgers had an interception until the Rams receiver ripped it away. Still, the defense held up to limit LA to just a field goal, and then the Eagles looked like they'd go down and get more points until A.J. Brown dropped a pass that would have for sure been a first down, followed by Hurts getting sacked to push the Birds out of field goal range. Now, on one hand, it'd be nice for Jalen to get the ball out a little bit quicker, especially against the Rams' pass rush. You kind of knew that was going to happen, but overall, they still got the win. And also, on the final drive of the half, Hurts put the ball perfectly on A.J. He just dropped it. Yet maybe the weather played a bigger factor than people want to admit.
You got to give this a pass. You got to give this game a pass. It was just tough. The conditions were tough, and I keep getting this question out, but you can't do nothing about it. The conditions were crazy, and we couldn't even see out there. So imagine throwing the ball and catching the ball, even though they were doing it at the end. But the game's on the line. They had no choice. I don't think that would have been their first choice. I think they would have probably tried to run the ball if they could. So
like I said, whatever it takes. But seriously, if I had told you A.J. Brown would have 3 catches for 24 yards through 2 playoff games, you'd think I was nuts. And yet that's exactly what's happened so far. But again, the silver lining is the Eagles keep winning. However, we all know this. AJ is way too talented for that to happen again. And plus, Kellen Moore could maybe scheme up some stuff to get AJ the ball a little bit more often. Thankfully, though, this team can win in multiple ways. And after the defense limited the Rams to a field goal to open up the second half, QB1 found Dallas Goedert for multiple completions as it looked like the Birds would score. Except Mekhi Becton was called for an illegal man downfield, negating a 19-yard pickup before the drive stalled and brought up a field goal. Now, say everything that we will about Jake Elliott, but hitting a 44-yard field goal there was clutch. And kudos to the hands team for getting out there early to try and clear a path off for Jake prior to the kick. Anyway, this is where things got really nerve-wracking, because after getting a stop, the Eagles' offense was backed up near their own end zone before Jalen Hurts ended up taking a sack for a safety, making it a 1-point game. Okay, so first off on this play, there's a whole lot of misses. One, yes, Jalen has Goedert wide open and just doesn't throw it. Yes, I know he's getting pressured, and it's easier to play armchair quarterback with freeze frames. It's just that one seems like a big missed opportunity. Now, I'll also agree with several of you that the play call and route concepts from everyone else left a lot to be desired in that situation. So overall, with a injured quarterback, probably a play everyone wishes they could have back. However, the defense came up big with a forced fumble from Jalen Carter and then a fumble recovery and return for 40 yards by Isaiah Rodgers that had me and Thomas losing it.
Run up the middle for Kyren Williams. Fumble the football. Ball down.
Yes.
Have it. They got it. Yes.
Go, Zay, go.
Rodgers.
Run, Zay, run. Go. Yes.
He's got 1 man to beat it.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
Oh, come on, baby. Let's go. Hit the like button.
Oh, my gosh. There's the turnover. First
I
and
think
goal,
I broke my thumb.
Philadelphia.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh. Boy, that was a hockey puck on an ice rink, Josh. Kyren Williams, I think he just drops it. I don't think anyone gets a hand on it. No, Jalen Carter punched it out. Oh, and then it skids around, and Isaiah Rodgers picks it up and runs it all the way to the 10.
Bro, the fact that
Jalen Carter.
The fact that Zay can even pick that football up that quickly, everyone else is down on it. Oh my gosh.
The crazy part is that was just the beginning of the back and forth. Because then when it looked like Philly would score, a false start pushed the ball back to force an eventual field goal. I will also say that not trying 2 to 3 brotherly shoves in a row from the 2-yard line was a little bit concerning to see. Yet knowing Jalen hurt his knee no doubt played a role in the play calling there. Fortunately, the defense answered the call again, and this time it resulted in the strip sack from Nolan Smith. But the Eagles' offense could only go 19 yards in 8 plays, resulting in an Elliott kick from 37 yards. And then a quick 3-and-out from Stafford put this game on ice with the Birds sliding into the NFC Championship.
Saquon said something to you before that 78-yard touchdown. Do you recall what he said?
No. I knew exactly what was about to happen. Just the run we had on, how they had been playing the run, and then the man you're handing the ball off to. You know that there's an opportunity to go out there and take advantage of it, and he took advantage of it. And it's a big-time play we needed. Big-time play we needed.
I'll be honest, I thought it was clearly over at that point. But after Elliott missed his second extra point of the game and LA marched down the field to score 7 in just 1 minute 48 seconds, I started to get a little bit worried. Obviously, that was made worse when Jalen Hurts took a 12-yard sack on 2nd and 7 on the next possession. And it's tough to say there, because on one hand, you want to keep running the clock, but at the same time, and I saw several comments about this, if you take the sack for 12 yards, you are automatically just about guaranteeing yourself that you're going to have to punt, which is obviously what they ended up doing. Anyway, thankfully, it didn't matter, though, because the Rams quickly got all the way down to the Philly 13 before Jalen Carter helped end the game and get the win. But that game was just drunk. Now, when it comes to Elliott, it would have been a whole lot less stressful if he had made his extra points. Although at this point in the season, it's ride or die with him. And even though that may give you a bit of anxiety, you're not going to find a better option on the street. I know, missing 8 kicks in the last 10 games is unacceptable. Yet if you want the positive spin, at least he's still 22 for 22 on field goals in the postseason. Feels like I ask this every week, but do you feel better or worse with the kicking game, especially all things considered? The weather, Jake did make 3 field goals, not super long, but there's a 44-yarder there, but better or worse about the kicking game from this one? Also, for those concerned about Jalen Hurts' knee, he did have a significant limp afterward. But the good news is that it sounds like he will for sure be good to go against the Commanders.
Tough game, a challenging game. I was able to finish the game and see how the week goes.
For this week, you said you'll see how the week goes. Is your status uncertain for next week?
Great question. No, I was just seeing how the week will go, seeing how things progress.
So you think you feel confident you'll play next week, I guess?
Yeah.
By the way, AJ with his knee also said that there's nothing affecting him. The lack of production has nothing to do with a potential injury. He's been nursing it throughout the playoffs, so nothing to worry about there. Also for Quinyon Mitchell, who went out with a shoulder injury, there's a good bit of optimism since he didn't suffer a major injury. And shout out to Olivia Reiner, but Q told her afterward that he's fine and that he'll be good to go. Obviously great news, but man, kudos to Zay and Oren Burks for filling in spot roles. I mean, the secondary coverage, you had some moments, but overall, you talk about that depth there, and it is really, really promising. Anyway, they got the dub, and the Commanders are up next, and they are not to be taken lightly. However, in case you haven't seen already, the Eagles opened up as 4.5-point favorites. And personally, I'm excited to get the chance to prove them wrong at the link. But I'll have more breakdowns and analysis in upcoming videos for that matchup. For now, do me a favor, hit that like button, make sure to subscribe, and then let me know your takeaways from Sunday's game. The good, the bad, the ugly. This has been the Philly Special.